let's look at the GB500. This is a 1990 GB, which stands for Great Britain 500. So this is Honda. It's a copy of British bikes, sort of much older British bikes. This is, like I said, is from the 90s, but it's kind of a copy of earlier boy racer motorcycles, big 500 singles, and that's actually what this is. But we actually look for this kind of stuff where this bike is nearly perfectly original, except for that exhaust. And there's a really common upgrade. I've actually looked at it since then. It's called a Jack Batson exhaust, full stainless. They say on the thing it's titanium, but it's not, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so the things like the exhaust specifically, because they're not stock and they're not correct, a lot of people will shy away. So we think, oh, we can get a bike like this for maybe a little bit cheaper, maybe get a deal on it because it's got performance upgrades, which actually make the bike better. But for a lot of the purists, that's a bad thing, and so the price will wind up being cheaper. So it's an interesting thing when you go to the Mecum auction, where I would say the vast majority of the guys there are purists. They are guys looking for perfect stock motorcycles. And a lot of time, I think it's for nostalgia reasons. They had a KZ900, and they just want one exactly the way it came off the showroom floor, and they're trying to relive that moment. But for us, that's cool, but also riding it is paramount, if you will. So it's really important that it looks cool and works well, and if it has a better exhaust, then that's better for us. The fun thing about this is it's much more modern. So if you think about like a modern car, it's gonna have more valves per cylinder. And this is a single, but at first you might look at it and think, oh, it's got two exhausts, it must be a two-cylinder. But it's actually, it's kind of weird, but it's based off sort of the off-road, Honda's off-road dirt bike engine, which is the XR600, which is a single cylinder. And so they just literally take that cylinder and sleeve it down to a 500. And it's got two intake ports, two exhaust ports, and one carburetor, which makes it all very simple to work on and stuff, hopefully. But it's simple operation, but you've got the added advantage of the newer technology and stuff. That's the cool thing about this, is it's meant to look like, it's meant to look exactly like, sort of, I think it looks like the boy racer. So that's the like HAS and a matchless from 50s and 60s, and they're big singles, and they have this kind of they always seem to have this black with the gold pinstriping. This is like the old Velocette or the Vincent look a lot like this. And it's funny because at Mecum, and you have no idea when you're walking by until you start to notice a little bit more of the modern touches on this one, and you're like, oh wait a second, something's not quite right. You know, it's got disc brakes and stuff like that. But all that hopefully makes it a much more fun to ride, but also gives you the cool styling, the cafe racers. All right, so we're just gonna go for it, right? Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and start it. All right, so here's the GB500, and we're gonna start it up. Well, go for it, start at least. I don't know if well, maybe we do need choke in the cold. Yeah, very cold. So, fuel is on. Did you turn it on or was it on? Okay. Can you guys hear the throb of it? Yeah. Let me try with no choke. Well, we got like a second of it. You gotta sit on it, warm it up. Oops, sorry, that was a horn. was when we started this up on the floor in Vegas, and there was a guy who was an old Norton. He was a Norton purist, and he was showing a guy, he just sold one next to us. And we started this up, and it makes this crazy noise. Oh, kills it. And the guy goes, you know, you could probably put the stock exhaust back on it. And we were just like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I think it sounds great. I think it was a little too early for the choke to be off there. So what people call single cylinders, they call them thumpers. And so you can kind of hear a thump, 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 because it's just one piston on up and down, so you don't have kind of the constant noise that you would normally get.